forgiven more than once. As a matter of fact, I'm forgiven a lot of times. How many times have you?
7 times a day.
You know, how many times have you heard those prayers? Mudimo, just just this one. Can I not suffer the consequences of my actions? And
I feel like you've been following me with CCTV cameras. For the rest of the week, you've been following me. You're like, I know she needs to hear this one.
this feeling of resentment or anger that I have towards this person, we fail to go back and say, listen, this and that really hurt.
You don't want to reconcile with anyone that you've forgiven. Are you saying that?
We attach too much emotion to forgiveness. I have come to learn that forgiveness is a choice.
Yeah.
You know?
So I want, what happened? You can name names, name drop, anything.
Ooh. Hey, yeah, ne? Yeah, hey, these questions are hard, man. These questions are hard.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nurturing Faith with Friends, a show that is aimed at drawing people together and strengthening faith with other believers. I am your host, Modiegi Mogotshi, and today's topic is embracing forgiveness and healing. I am here with the best man of God, a pastor in training, a student psychologist. Everybody, please help me welcome Mr. Raymond Teffo himself.
What's up?
Woo! How are you?
I'm very well. How are you, dear?
I'm good. Are you good?
I'm good.
I'm also fantastic. I can't wait for this episode. I can't wait for us to talk and get into it. Talk about forgiveness and healing. This one is a difficult one, eh?
More you than me. I'm shivering. I'm shivering because this is a very serious topic.
No, I don't think you should be scared. The Holy Spirit is here. He's facilitating this whole thing. He's here with us right now. Yeah. So how are you feeling, actually? Besides the nerves, how are you feeling?
More excited than nerves. Mm-hmm. More excited than nerves. I'm really good. I must also just commend you guys for the beautiful work that you guys do. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to play a little game. I don't know if you've watched the shows before.
Yeah.
Hope you did.
Yeah.
If you didn't, we're going to kick you out.
Proud subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
We're going to play little games, nyana, to lighten up the mood. First question is, if you could switch lives with anyone,
yeah.
Who would it be? For a day.
For a day?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. My father.
I'm thinking Mark Zuckerberg. I'm thinking those men.
My father. My dad.
Reason being?
He was my first hero. He was the... let me just say he was my hero. I knew... I didn't need to see a hero in a cape.
Ooh.
My father was my hero. My father was that. The first image I've seen of a hero was my father. He gave everything of himself to his family.
Yeah.
And that for me was beautiful to see.
And I'm sure you're so aspired to be a dad like him.
I actually say when I speak that the more I speak, the more I hear him, the more I sound like him.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Actually, now to come... Okay, I don't think I'd want to be my dad. My dad is so boring. He's not funny. You're always saying that my uncle is funny, which till this day, I don't understand why you find him funny. Nobody's funny at my house. But speaking of heroes, definitely. My dad is definitely my hero. Number one, my man, my dad.
See.
So I get why, it's amazing. I mean, a lot of people don't have that. And it's amazing for us who have that, we acknowledge this is what they're doing in our lives. That's very beautiful.
As a matter of fact, I think those are the first people
yeah,
we should celebrate before anybody else.
definitely. And we always forget to celebrate them. It's always moms, but never dads. Dad, Kaurata. Yeah, love him so much. So another one, I feel like you're gonna say your dad again, but okay.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
Never let a second determine how you're going to experience a minute.
Ooh.
Never let a minute determine how you're going to experience the rest of the hour. So you may have a bad day, but let it not be what determines or how, let it not be how you experience the entire week. You've had a bad day, that's okay. But guess what? You still have 6 more days to go.
I feel like you've been following me with CCTV cameras. For the rest of the week, you've been following me. You're like, I know she needs to hear this one. Because actually, now that I'm so encouraged, to go here and do whatever. Because really, it's discouraging. Having bad days are very discouraging. Yeah. And then another question.
Yeah.
This is not the last one, but this is the second last one.
Okay.
Were you ever told you should look like a celebrity? And if so, which celebrity were you ever told who you look like?
You better not be saying I look like Brian Habana.
Who?
Brian Habana.
I don't know him. Do you look like him?
I'm told I look a lot like Brian Habana.
I see Johnson. What's his name?
Dwayne? Oh, no.
I don't know. I see it a little bit. Just
Brian
a little
Habana, a former Springbok player. I'm told I look a lot like him.
Do you think you look like him?
I actually think a lot of people who say I look like him need binoculars. The spectacles are really not for them. They really need to look at us very close.
Nah, I don't know him, but I think you look like him. Judging from how you're denying it, I think you look like him. I definitely think you look like him. Last question.
Yeah.
What is your favorite episode on Nurturing Faith with Friends? Your favorite podcast? Nurturing Faith with Friends. Nurturing Faith with Friends.
So I look at different. I was looking at different things. Mm-hmm. But one that stands out or resonates, I resonate with a lot was, Mr. Mello.
Ooh.
I think you're talking about abuse and a father. Mm-hmm. How his father was and stuff like that. And I think that it hit home for me. We started off by acknowledging our fathers, for instance. And you just said not a lot of people stand or get to witness what we experience. You with your father and I with mine.
Yeah.
So I think that for me was one of my favorite. There is also of my favorite colleague and a sister.
Oh.
Actually, both of them. Busi.
Yeah.
Letepang.
So all of them.
All
so
of
you're
them.
a biggest fan.
All of
you're
them.
A fan.
I also check the numbers.
That's so
I
good.
check everything.
That is so good. I am so glad. You've been supporting us, eh?
I have.
You've been.
I'm a subscriber. Hello.
You are our biggest fan, you guys.
Yeah.
So let's get into serious things now.
Yeah.
Embracing forgiveness and healing.
Yeah.
Embracing forgiveness and healing. What the question I want to ask you now is, I want to know about your experience with forgiveness and how challenging it was for you to forgive. So I want, what happened? You can name names, name drop, anything. I'm not gonna fetch them. I'm joking.
Yeah. That's a loaded question.
Right.
And a very difficult subject.
Yeah.
Topic.
Yeah.
It has a lot of technicalities,
Yeah.
And I think that topic is one that makes you realize just how much Jesus we still need. Because I think every single one of us suffers or struggles with forgiveness and healing. For me, an incident was a friend of mine who, in times of need, he would call me. I had a very soft spot for him. He would call me and I'd help him out, without expecting anything in return. From the goodness of my heart, he's my friend. And unfortunately, when I needed help most, he just point blank refused to help me. It wasn't that he was unable to help me. It was that he chose not to help me.
You.
And I think for the longest of times, and something in me, like a brick fall.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
why not?
it was that I struggled forgiving him.
Oh, how long did it take you to forgive him?
Let's rather say more than a year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So that was your most challenging experience.
Yeah, that was the most challenging incident where I struggled a lot to forgive him.
Friendship, now that I'm thinking about it, I also have the same story with friends, of course. Friendship hurts they will destroy you. A friendship hurt. I think my most challenging experience was when I had to forgive the people that have never apologized. I had to forgive them, knowing that they've hurt me intentionally. Because I always say there's a point that there are certain things, that I don't feel the need to talk to you about because it's the law, especially in friendships. You're supposed to be my friend, So when people hurt you intentionally, it hurts. And then when you're put in a position where you have to forgive them without them even saying sorry, because I am a creste. That I think that's my most, that was very challenging for me.
Forgiveness on its own is it's very difficult to, it's taxing. It's a huge price to pay, on you, person that has to forgive, and one of the things that makes it difficult is the fact that our pride is attached to it.
Ooh.
Nkamulema, than to forgive him. That is just pride in us talking. So I think one of the things that makes forgiveness so much difficult to do, it's simply because of that. There is pride attached to it.
When did you realize the importance of forgiving people in your life? Like, when did you realize that actually, wait, me not forgiving this person is affecting me badly? I can't do this. I'm not receiving my gifts. I'm not doing that because I haven't forgive. So when was it? When did you realize?
Just seeing my friend having fun, and now I'm right underneath Mutlari Odiswiri. He's having fun. He's having a time of his life, and every time I see him dance, I'm peeling a lemon. So I decided not to camp at the foot of that grave. I decided not to make lemonade when there is an orange juice somewhere. So that is when I actually decided I'm going to let go of this thing, this anger and resentment I hold inside towards this person, so I can also experience life for what it is.
I think when it started affecting me, when I realized that actually I need to forgive, was when unforgiveness started becoming a hindrance in my healing.
Oh yeah, there is that as well.
I had a lot of issues. I didn't receive my tongues for years. Couldn't receive my tongues because I couldn't forgive. I remember when I was prayed for, that my grandma was laying hands on me. And in the middle of the prayer, he was like, wait, Osmo, you need to forgive this man. It hit. I just started weeping. Right at them, I just started crying because never have I ever thought that someone would, ask about it. But that was the moment where I actually realized, sorry, I'm by not forgiving this person, this is a hindrance to me. This is a hindrance to my healing, my gifts. I can't even receive tongues. I can't communicate with God in the Holy Spirit because I'm failing to forgive this person. Mind you, the person doesn't even care.
No.
He doesn't care.
They never
okay. He's fine. So yeah, it's very challenging.
Yeah.
And how are you and your friend now? Are you guys good? I hope you guys are good.
Yeah, we're good. We are good.
That's not convincing. Yeah, we're good.
We are really good.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that you would have to learn, or we all have to learn, is that forgiveness does not necessarily mean reconciliation.
Yeah.
I can forgive you and choose not to continue the friendship.
Yeah.
And we should be okay with that. I don't hold any feelings of anger, bitterness towards him. Mm-hmm. But because I'm aware of myself and I'm aware of my triggers and I'm aware of where I have been, I just choose not to go back there.
Which that's actually, I've always had the same approach, but you and I are in Bible college.
Yeah.
I think you remember there was a lesson where it was by Dr. Theo, of course, and he was talking about how after forgiving, we're always saying that, I forgave you, but I don't want to be friends with you anymore. Yeah. And he said that's not how it's supposed to be. We have to reconcile after forgiving. So what's your take on that? You don't want to reconcile with anyone that you've forgiven. Are you saying that?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that reconciliation is a two-way street.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It takes two. So reconciliation also means that you're going to put in as much work as I put in.
50-50.
So we go back to where we were.
Yeah.
It would be a problem if the reconciliation was one-sided. You'd simply find yourself back at square one. You would find yourself having the same issues that you had. And for me, in that case, it was more him not wanting to put in the work, so we are reconciled.
Oh,
that is what I'm saying.
But you're good today, and you've forgiven him.
I'm good. We good. We are good. Very good.
Sharp.
Yeah, very sharp.
That's good.
Yeah.
So forgiveness.
Yeah.
How do you define forgiveness, and how is it different from forgetting or condemning for you? How's it different?
For me.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the things that we struggle with. We attach too much emotion to forgiveness. I have come to learn that forgiveness is a choice.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is a choice to let go of these emotions, to let go of the hurt that a person has inflicted or pain that a person has inflicted on me. Right? I simply decide I am not going to respond to the stimuli, but rather make a different choice contrary to what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's my definition of forgiveness.
And how is it different from forgetting and condemning?
I think a lot of people also, that is where the other problem is
I
the
think
fact
that's
that
the biggest, actually.
the fact that we think that by forgiving a person, we condoning or we letting him get away with what they did to us. It is simply not that. I am choosing peace over what you've done, over the pain, to release you, right? But forgiveness is more for me than the person who has inflicted pain on me. I'm not condoning what you have done. I am just simply choosing not to respond proportionately to the pain. Because if I respond in the same proportion, then I'm no better than the person who has inflicted pain on me.
Because forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean forgetting. No. I think that one, I've struggled with that one for a while. Yeah. I would literally just brush it off, try to forget about what you did, but that's really not the case. You can remember. You should remember all of the things that they've done to you. You must.
And sorry, I'm a village boy, so
might as well.
Every now and then English gets out of the window.
Yeah.
And what I normally say is, if I look at myself, got a scar.
Yeah.
It has healed, but I've got a scar. Right. The healing does not necessarily negate the fact that there's a scar.
Yeah.
Forgiveness does not necessarily mean that you have to forget. I think it is in that memory where we learn. It's in that memory where we learn and try not to end in the same place that we've been.
Yeah.
I think if we don't learn anything from those situations, or rather choose to forget, then we are really not learning. It will only be a matter of time until you find yourself in the very same situation, which for me simply means that you have learned nothing from the experiences that you've had.
But also the other person on the far end, the one that is being forgiven, people take it for granted. I think this is why a lot of people feel like, it's condemnation and all of that. I have to forget. We never really think about the people that we're forgiving. And I feel like the only time we do think about them is when pride gets in our way.
Yeah.
Nah, if I forgive this person, they're going to repeat what they did. They're going to do it again, most definitely. Yeah. But if I do someone wrong and they forgive me, I would definitely not take that for granted. Sure.
I think the reason why a lot of people take that for granted is because also us as the people doing, or the person doing the forgiving, we are hardly ever able to say, okay, I've made peace, or I chose peace over this feelings or feeling of resentment or anger that I have towards this person. We fail to go back and say, listen, this and that really hurt me. So the other person continues their life without the knowledge of what they've done to you or the pain that they've caused you. Right? I think that is perhaps one of the things that we would have to talk about someday.
Definitely, we need to talk about this, because a lot of people aren't even receiving their blessings because of unforgiveness. We always brush things off. Most of the time we just do when people hurt us, not really focusing on forgiving the person and forgiving them completely and just giving it to God. So we definitely need to talk about forgiveness more.
Yeah.
So what would you say are the steps that people need to take in order for them to forgive completely or correctly?
The difficult thing about that is in realizing that the problem starts, or the struggle with forgiveness starts from a very young age. from home.
Oh.
Because I grow up, or rather, when we walk out of here, chances are you'd come across children, or
Ooh.
you know,
Yeah.
it's things, those small things. And also as Christians, we struggle with it because a lot of us would quote Moses, we would quote Paul, and not really Jesus Christ.
Ooh.
So we are okay with Moses saying an eye for an eye. That is where our problem starts.
Yeah.
Moses says an eye for an eye, but Jesus says forgive. Right. So one of the steps that I think are very important is, I always say this: you never give what you don't have. Right. One, I think we need to get to a place where we love ourselves. We have to truly love ourselves. When you love yourself, it becomes easier to forgive yourself. And once you have forgiven yourself, it becomes a lot easier to forgive another person. I think for me, I keep it as simple as that. I love myself, and the fact that I love myself so much simply or also means that I go nagafa samtlaro waswiri.
Yeah.
I can't always be drinking lemonade. I can't always be eating lemons. I love myself enough to say I'm going to choose different. I love myself enough to say I forgive me for putting myself in a position where this and that could happen to me, where I allowed myself to have this and that happen to me. And once I have made peace with that and taken accountability for my actions, it is easier then to forgive me, and a lot easier to forgive somebody else, because forgiveness starts with me.
Forgiveness does start with you.
Yeah.
And one thing we don't realize as Christians is that staying with unforgiveness in our hearts, we are opening doors for the devil and his demons.
Very true. Very, very, very true.
It's scary.
It is.
The minute you decide that you don't want to forgive your brother or sister in Christ, you're opening the door for the demons to attack, to come. And he's going to whisper in your ear, no, don't only just forgive them, let's revenge.
Okay.
Witchcraft. Witchcraft.
Yeah.
We open doors so that, guys, with the smallest things, unforgiveness, you thinking, no, by forgetting about it and not forgiving them, get up, I'm safe. One thing for sure, I'm not going to let you be the reason why I don't go to heaven. I will forgive you. I will forgive you so hard.
Even when you don't deserve it.
Even when you don't, you're not about to be the reason why I don't get into heaven and talk to Jesus. You're not the reason, or you can't be the reason why.
Let me also say this. Chances are, it would have been very simple for me.
Fast, quick. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Problem solved.
No, the actions. I forgive you. After that, I forgive you.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with feelings of anger or bitterness, especially when it comes to unforgiving? It comes, especially when you're mad. This person just did you wrong. They hurt your feelings. Of course, you're angry. You want to be bitter to them. You want to retaliate. So how do you deal with all of that as a Christian man?
When Jesus teaches us to pray, he says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. I think that's very important. Once in a while, you need to come to the realization that you are where you are, not because of your abilities, not because of your background, not because social status.
Yeah.
We are where we are because Christ and grace gave us things that we did not deserve. I think that is where the trick is. And once you are sensitized to that, I think you then start having conversations with yourself that I have been forgiven more than once. As a matter of fact, I'm forgiven a lot of times. How many times have you?
7 times a day.
How many times have you heard those prayers? Mudimo, just just this one. Can I not suffer the consequences of my actions? And that is where forgiveness kicks in. Once you realize that you are literally forgiven on a daily, and that you keep getting what you do not deserve, I think it should be easier for us to get sensitized to the fact that we need to start forgiving other people and let go of feelings of resentment and anger towards the people that had us. I think that is where it should start as Christians. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Yeah. So there's steps to this thing, right?
Yeah.
There's forgiveness. And then after forgiving, you need to heal from whatever they did to you.
Yeah.
How would you say you can facilitate healing and restoration in your life?
Ooh. Hey, yeah, ne? Yeah, hey, these questions are hard, man. These questions are hard. But part of facilitating that process goes or ties up with what I said previously, that you need to love yourself. It all starts there, but also, and it ties very well with what we spoke about earlier on, that do not need to forget. The couple of steps I think works for me. You need to acknowledge that you are hurt. You need to acknowledge that you are hurt.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we would rather bury our heads in sand and ignore the hurt or the pain.
Yeah.
Right. Number 2, you need to be aware and have the understanding of the severity or the depth of the pain.
Sure.
You need to acknowledge that and understand what this pain hinders you from doing. And once you are aware of it, once you have acknowledged it and you are aware of it, you start treating it. That is acceptance.
Ooh.
You start treating the wound so it does not become septic. It becomes septic. I thank God I still have my grandmother. So when I was hurt growing up, when I got hurt, my grandmother would quickly take vinegar, or surgical spirit, or water with salt, a lot of salt, pour it onto the wound. It will be painful for a minute or 2, but after that becomes completely numb. And that's what acceptance does. When you have acknowledged the pain, when you understand the severity and the extent of the pain, and you have accepted it, that is where, after acceptance, that is where forgiveness kicks in. And after you've come to the phase or stage of forgiveness, it then becomes easier to heal.
Yo, the part where you said we need to acknowledge
Very
the depth of the wound. That one is just because we're always ignoring it. A lot of people actually downplay their hurt to forgive quickly.
But also, how do you treat something that you have no knowledge of?
Sure.
Right. You need knowledge. You need an understanding of what you are dealing with.
Yeah.
So you can treat it accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am so mad. I am so mad because unfortunately we've come to the end of our show. I'm so glad that we covered healing and forgiveness. The conversation that we just had now, actually you literally put a mirror in front of me. You're like, look at yourself, sis. You need to go and forgive correctly. You weren't doing it right this whole time. It's not a good thing. Condemnation. It's not a good thing.
I think the good thing about a mirror is you're able to
Right.
or you are able to fix what is not okay.
This was amazing. I had a great time talking about forgiveness and healing. I'm not sure I promise if I find out you're only preaching but not practicing it, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Oh, that is very important to me.
I'm sure you implemented everything that you're talking about now to your friends.
I do.
Friend, they forgive you. They forgive you.
Yeah, you know.
It's just neat. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Teffo, for availing yourself for us. I had a lovely day with you.
Thank you.
This conversation was amazing. Off cameras, we're going to continue with this conversation for sure. And there you have it, guys. I don't even want to wrap it up. This was amazing. I had a great time with Mr. Teffo talking about forgiveness and healing. And I hope you viewers have heard everything that we were talking about. And I hope everyone's going to implement it in their lives, okay? Whoever you're struggling to forgive, you have to go and forgive them and forgive them correctly. I am your host, Modiegi Mogotshi, and that is it for us for now. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. We are on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp channel at Nurturing Faith with Friends. Bye.